All righty, good evening. I'm probably about 30 seconds, 30, 45 seconds early, but it's okay. That also gives time for notifications to go out. See, my notification just went off. So let me put that on Do Not Disturb right now because it will continue to go off. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another night of Sex, Love, Marriage. You see, I have all my junk in the background there. Tonight, we have another amazing episode, and I thank you for joining me. Before we get too far into tonight's topic, I want to remind you all of some upcoming. Oh, I'm nosing, so somebody just peeled off in the parking lot outside, and yeah, that distracted me. I get distracted pretty easy. Anyway, so, before we get too far into tonight's topic, I want to just go through the quick rundown of some upcoming events that I have that you are all invited to. So, definitely check them out and come on out. So, this Wednesday, September the 28th, as we do every Wednesday night, we have our couples mindfulness yoga class at 6:30 p.m. On this Sunday, October the 2nd. Yes, October is literally in about 4 days. October, yes. So on Sunday, October the 2nd, we have our first self care Sunday for October with Coach Jackie. Ladies, that is for you. So you are definitely invited to attend that. On Saturday and Sunday, October the 29th and October the 30th. This is for the kiddos. The Haunt at Norchest, where we're going to have a safe and fun alternative to traditional trick or treating. We're going to have a haunted house right here set up for all the kids to walk through. They will be almost just like if they were outside trick or treating. They will go to the different stations. We provide in their trick or treat bags. They will get a dinner snack pack to take home. So, mom and dad, you don't have to worry about cooking because we will have all of that for them. So, that is the 29th and 30th. And then on Monday, November the 7th, kicks off the very last live 3 weeks to launch business course on Saturday, the November the 12th. I'm super excited about this one. So I premiered Mind Fucked in Atlanta, Georgia at the Sex Down South Conference. You know, I still be talking about that Sex Down South Conference. I premiered it there, and I will be bringing that home to Virginia. So Mind Fucked will be on Saturday, November the 12th. There's going to be two of those. There's going to be a 2 p.m. and a 6 p.m. So you can get in either one. Yes, space will be limited because it is quality over quantity. I'm not looking for a room full of folks. I'm looking for a room full of the right folks. So couples, you are invited to that. And then we can't forget our what is it, third annual? Yes, our third annual Foods and Love Couples Retreat registration is open. 5 couples, as always, will be accepted. That starts on March the 30th through April the 2nd. So those are now out of the way. So we can dive into tonight's topic. For those who have never met me before, and this is your first time hearing my voice, I welcome you. I am your favorite life coach and certified clinical sexologist, Coach K. I work with women and I work with couples, and I work with them on increasing their intimacy with sexucation so that they are intimatized to have a more fulfilled and healthy, thriving sex life and sexual experiences. Because let's be real, a lot of the end goal is to ensure your pleasure in the bedroom, the car, the kitchen, wherever it is that you go. So that is what I specialize in, and I do that through, as you heard, some of the different events as well as workshops. One on one coaching will slowly phase itself out. And I want you guys to be on the lookout for Open. That is the newest program that I have coming up. The Mind Fucked folks, you guys will learn about that first. You will get first dibs on special pricing for that. Open is going to be an amazing program. But anyway, Let's get into tonight's topic. Take that split and learn, or take that split and grow. So the reason why I'm doing this one, it's been a going on, it's almost a year since I've talked about kind of grieving the end of a relationship, and I'll get into that in a little bit. And I want to talk about tonight's topic in three different steps. We're going to talk about the actual split, breakup, or separation. We're going to talk about the process, and then we're going to talk about next steps. In the post that I did for today's room, I talked about what were your first thoughts when you first broke up with someone, they broke up with you, there was a separation from work, or there was any type of split. What were your first thoughts? What were the things that you thought about when whatever relationship that you had ended? Usually, and this is going on some of the clients I've talked to, my own personal experiences, listening to family members, and of course, social media, because who everyone now takes their relationship there. So normally what I see, the thoughts are, what's wrong with me? They did X, Y, and Z. I'm better off without them because they blah. There's a lot of those folks over there are just stupid and I am too good for them. And then the bashing starts. Um, it really bothers me when that happens, that now that you guys are split up, oh, all of the dirty laundry is now sprawn all across the front yard. I literally watched this woman who was with this guy for about a year, almost 2 years. I watched her be so engulfed with this man. I watched her, you know, almost push her own children to the side to be with him. She would not accept anyone in her family not accepting him. And she was team this dude. Like it was all about this dude. Internet, everywhere, all about this dude. We found out that they split up. And probably about, I would say, 48 to 72 hours later, this guy was now a crackhead. He was now had no job. He was now the worst person in the world. Where about 72 hours before that, if anyone else had said that, it would have been a problem. And so the initial split, and yes, it is a jarring event. Quite frankly, splitting up, separating, getting fired, whatever, all of those things can be deemed as traumatic experiences. And so when we experience trauma, it is when something happens to us and our body does not, or ourselves, we don't know how to react. And so emotions just kind of blah, they just come out. It's how you react to, hey, S. Ford, and my boo just joined on Instagram. So that initial jarring split, the thought process is that person did this to me. And so we then go into, and so we're going a little bit into the process part of it, because you have your split, you have your thoughts, you're pointing fingers. So now we go into the process piece. This process piece, in my opinion, both personal and professionally, I don't think that there is enough processing time when it comes to the experience of a breakup, a separation, a split, so have you. That processing time, if it is riddled with the wrong entities in your corner, can be probably the shortest and worst experience that you can have. So if we think about it, we went through this split. We start pointing fingers at everyone. Everyone else is horrible. And then we go into process mode. So we're now processing how horrible that person is. We're pointing out everything that they did wrong. Say it's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, they left you. Well, screw them. They were always doing X, Y, and Z. They never loved me. They never did this. This laundry list of things of why they're so horrible to no longer be with you because you're the prize, right? You're the prize. They're nothing at this point. We have to be very careful with this processing time. And we also have to take the processing time seriously. March 18th, 2021, if you go back on my YouTube channel, you probably can find it here on Instagram as well. But if you go to my YouTube channel, you will find the video that is called Properly Grieve Relationship Endings. Just like we grieve, or we should process and grieve the death of another person or an animal, a loved one, you absolutely should and need to grieve the ending of a relationship. Going through, and technically there are 5 stages of grief. Going through each one of those, and you will go forward, backwards, you would jump, skip, however you process it. It is your process, but you absolutely should go through the process of that split. Hey, Two Handful, thank you. In that process, there has to be self-accountability. So you just went through this traumatic experience of you separating or breaking up or divorcing. When it's trauma filled, it is something that is happening to you. If you sit too long in that this thing is happening to you, it is less than likely that you will do any type of self accountability of that relationship, of that split. Now, I want you to hear me when I say that I am not telling you that whatever is going on or whatever the split is, it is your fault. I am only saying that in the process of grieving the ending of that particular relationship, it is important for you to take a look in the mirror and find out what parts you may have played in the split. And then if there is something that you feel, you know what, this is something I never want to experience again. This is something I'm going to work on. You should work on that. The only thing that you can properly, truly, and wholeheartedly do that is most healthy and beneficial for yourself after a breakup is to work on you. Work on whatever pieces may have been taken away from you during that split. Because the reality is, while you were with whomever, you attached yourself to that person. You gave a lot of yourself to that person. And thus, when they left, they took a lot of that with them. And so now you have to do self-reflection, self-accountability to rebuild, going through those 5 stages of grief, going through that process, taking this finger and bringing it back around to you, understanding where is it, what is it, how is it What was my role in the path towards this split or breakup? Now, I always like to make sure that people know when I'm talking, I'm really talking in very general terms. This is not in any way specific to any one situation because all situations are different. However, when it comes to self accountability, not placing blame, no one's at fault, self accountability. So right here on Instagram, Two Handful says keyword gave. Most people feel like someone took something from them. Yes, that right there is so key when it comes to this processing of that split and breakup. We give of ourselves to who we're with. If you're giving yourself unwillingly, then that's something that once that split happens, absolutely, you want to look at that self accountability. Why is it that I give and I do things when I simply don't want to? Well, I've always been told you have to be a good person. You have to do this. You have to make sure that people are happy. You have to make sure blah, 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 blah. Included in that people being happy is you. You are a people, right? You're a people, and so you deserve that happiness as well. So, in the process, in the processing of that split or breakup, it is super important that you do self accountability. What role did I play in this split? Now that we are split, how can I rebuild myself from the things that I gave? Do I even want those things back that I gave? That's really important. Do I want to rebuild myself with the things that I gave and poured into someone else? Yes, two handfuls, setting boundaries. That's going to be very important. When you are now sitting in this state of aloneness, it is while you're doing your self accountability, start building those boundaries so that when you're ready, and that's going into next steps, because I told you we're doing split process and next steps. So when you're ready and you go into the next steps, you're walking towards your next relationship with boundaries set, with a full understanding of yourself, with understanding, okay, the role that I played in my last breakup was X, Y, and Z. I stand firm on how I was in that relationship, and that's what I'm going to lead with for my next relationship because it could be that who you are to your core and who you are as a person, you weren't comfortable enough to let that previous partner know on the front end. And so when you grew into who you truly are, or when, excuse me, when who you truly are finally surfaced after you got comfortable in that relationship, your partner didn't like it because it seems as if you changed. But during that processing time of you self reflecting, self accountability, you building boundaries, if you're always at the surface of yourself and you're walking into the next relationship, or you may not even be looking for it, if the next relationship so happens to walk into you, then you're leading with your full purposeful self. It's taking the information, taking the split, taking that breakup, pulling out the pieces that will allow you to grow, not focusing on what that person did to you, changing the language that nothing was done to you. And I'm not saying you allowed anything to happen, but changing that mindset of this breakup happened to you and just simply we parted ways. That's a split. I need to now reflect for myself. That's a part of the process. I need to fully grieve the end of that relationship. It's a part of the process. I need to start setting some clear boundaries. I need to rebuild myself so that I am my full self to the surface, part of the process. And then I am now ready to walk on the original path that you've always had. Because I'll tell you, another error that many, many, many people in relationships make, and I talked to one of the couples who came to my mindfulness yoga class a couple weeks ago. I talked about how when we meet each other, here we are, we meet each other. Hey, how you doing? I'm just fine. Da da da. And so we become connected because now we're together. Two handfuls says some people accept more than they actually wanted to. Absolutely right. And this may even play into this scenario here. Yes, way too much. So we meet each other, we become connected. We're now as one. We were already on whatever pathway. It just so happened that we met each other on this pathway. So now we're walking this pathway, and one of us starts to veer off into the other's pathway. So you left your path and you veered off, or the other way around, they left their path and they veered off. That's where a lot of frustrations come into play. That's where a lot of splits and breakups begin to happen. That's where a lot of poor communication comes into play. We have to learn to walk our path while being a support to our partner on their path. That's not to say y'all gonna walk in two different ways, because you're connected. And that comes with communication. So when we're looking at during the processing part, we're looking at self-accountability. Were you the one that says, you know what? I veered off of my pathway in life and I started to live someone else's dream. I started to fully support their dream while forgetting mine. I started to just give all, like Two Handfuls said on Instagram. I started to accept way more things than I actually wanted to, because I just wanted to be in this relationship, that I was willing to give up who I was and who I am in order to do so, with the thought of, oh, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Well, you got to that bridge and somebody broke your bridge. So now what? So when you're in these situations, when this breakup happens, accept your breakup. Please, by all means, sit inside of your feelings. I really do not like when someone is hurt and the person that is close to them puts their hand on their shoulder or hugs them or whatever and says, "Oh, don't cry." Why not? If that is how they process their feelings, allow them to cry. It's okay to say, I really hate that you're hurting. I don't like to see you cry. I understand. You have to let it out. But to say, "Don't cry, it'll be okay," shut the fuck up. That is what I want you to hear the next time you're about to tell someone, "Oh, don't cry." And if someone tells that to you, I really want you to, in the midst of your cry, I want you to stop. I want you to look up and just say, shut the fuck up. Sit inside of your feelings. I want you to feel and process all of those feelings. It is when we do not allow ourselves to fully sit in our feelings, process our feelings. It is when we cut it short that we quickly jump into the next relationship. And whatever it is that we didn't resolve here comes with us. Now, I'm not saying sit in your feelings for weeks, months, years. No, 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 no. But I can assure you, if you allow yourself to sit fully in your feelings and take your time through that whole process versus someone on the outside's timeline of how long you should process, I can assure you that when you're ready to come out of the process phase into the next steps phase, your relationships will begin to look differently. So we are 6 minutes before the 30-minute mark. And you know I don't like to keep you guys here long, 25 minutes off. So I'll do a quick wrap up. And then if you guys want to ask questions, contribute to the conversation, as Two Handful has here on Instagram, so thank you for that. Please feel free to do so, because I am not here to be right. I am only here to be heard and get the conversation started. When I do these topics, it is because they're subjects and topics that are not talked about enough. These videos will last forever. So someone who may be going through something may catch it, and that may be their trigger to communicate and talk about these things. So tonight's topic was take that split and grow. It is all about when we are separated, broken up with, divorced, taken apart from whatever relationships that we're in. It's being able to take the pieces of that split and use it for our own growth. I talked about it tonight in 3 stages. I talked about the split itself, which is the traumatic experience. Yes, a split, a breakup, a divorce absolutely is a traumatic experience. Some people think that they've never experienced trauma. You know what? If a spider jumped on your shoulder and your body reacted to it in a certain way, that is a traumatic experience. So a breakup absolutely is a traumatic experience. So we talk about it, the split. We talk about the process, being able to walk through all of the stages of grief, of the ending of that relationship, being able to sit inside of those feelings, feel all of it, being able to look in a mirror and self-reflect, self-accountability of the role that you played, not place blame on you, not saying it's your fault, but self-accountability in the role that you played in that split itself, rebuilding yourself with the pieces that you want, setting those boundaries, as Two Handful mentioned here on Instagram, and being able to have your full self at the surface, so that when you go into number 3, which is the next steps, you're fully yourself, you're present, you walk into any future relationships with the understanding of who you are, what you want, what you like, what you deserve. Your boundaries are already set, and not allowing yourself to be diminished to accept things that you would not normally accept based on a relationship. When you build the relationship with yourself first, yourself is the strongest relationship that you can have. It can take you down if you don't nurture it. So before you're able to fully be engaged with or have a healthy, thriving relationship with an outside entity, you have to be able to work through that process to build that relationship with yourself prior to your next steps of accepting someone else into your space. For ladies, if this is something that you find pretty difficult and hard to do, I do encourage you to go to ownyourishsis.com, ownyourishsis.com. Check out that program. That is an amazing program that helps you with building you, setting those boundaries, and being able to walk in the next phases of your life on purpose. I also work with you. If you would prefer one-on-one, we can do that as well. And if there is a couple who is heading in the place of separation, breakup, and both parties are willing to work on it, schedule time so we can do that, and I can help to be that support. Michelle Reels 1964, which thank you for joining me here on Instagram, says, I don't have a problem setting boundaries. I have a family needs somebody in my life. I believe I know that last part of what you're saying is there's a need there's something that makes you feel like you need someone inside of your life. And if I'm saying it wrong, please correct me. And I truly understand that. That's very real. That's very real. And that's where the building that very strong relationship with yourself comes into play. Um, Once you become your best friend, the emptiness that sometimes you feel when you're not in a relationship is not there or it's not as strong. We're at the 30-minute mark, and I could literally go into that topic fully, but we will be here entirely too long. And on a school night, that's what I like to call it. I don't like to keep you guys here too long. But that might be one of our future topics. So, just a reminder that I am here every single Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Clubhouse, Instagram, as well as YouTube. I encourage everyone to go to YouTube, search Coach K 101, or you can just go to youtube.com/ Coach K 101. Subscribe to the page so that you know every time I go live, and you can check out all of my previous videos. For the processing part, if you go to the video that's March 18th, which is Properly Grieve, the End of a Relationship, watch that video. That should be helpful as well. And then next week on Tuesday, October the 4th, the topic is Same Shit, Different Era. We're going to talk about how history is just repeating itself when it comes to the game of men and women, the games they play, how they pick up people. So we're going to talk about it. Same shit, different era. Go ahead and mark your calendars now. Remember, you can find me on every single platform that is social media under Coach K101, COACHKAY 101. I thank you for joining me tonight. This has been your favorite life coach and certified clinical sexologist, Coach K, with another episode of Sex, Love, Marriage, and I will see you back soon. You can also catch one of the events that are coming up. So if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, come on out this weekend. We got a lot of fun stuff happening. Good night, everybody.